Pouring Access. Applying Poor Principles to Computer Science Materials. Andrew Bennett. Creative Technology Research Lab. University of Florida. Luis Perez of the Universal Design for Learning organization CAST makes an analogy comparing blueberry muffins to accessibility. If you have a muffin and dump a bunch of blueberries on the muffin, do you have a blueberry muffin? To represent this, I have a bit of an equation. A picture of a muffin, a plus sign, a picture of a bowl of blueberries, an equals sign, and a blueberry muffin. Does pouring blueberries on a muffin give you a blueberry muffin? Please respond out loud or in the chat. The analogy is that blueberries need to be mixed into the muffin batter in order to have a blueberry muffin. Accessibility in lesson planning and product similarly needs to be considered during the process, not retrospectively. This evening, I'm going to be discussing a few questions. When should accessibility be considered in the computer science CS design process? What are the differences between accessible and assistive technologies? How should CS accessibility be evaluated? Why are we focusing on accessibility? In order to allow for full participation of all students, including those with disabilities. Accessibility is the bare minimum needed. Those of you who are familiar with Universal Design for Learning may recognize that accessibility is discussed alongside UDL. Accessibility is the starting point in order for UDL to work. Without access, one cannot do UDL. When materials are flexible, they are less likely to create barriers to learning. Also, like we saw in the blueberry muffin analogy, it is most efficient to think about accessibility when you are designing instead of having to consider it later on. I have a bunch of accessibility considerations on this slide. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but I'll talk about a few. First, visual information can be supported through alt text for images, color contrasts, and not using a single color. One example of a resource you can use is WebAIM's Contrast Checker. Closed captioning on videos supports students who are deaf or have hearing impairments, or deaf gain as some in the deaf community call it, among others. For example, YouTube videos have an option for captioning when you download a video. For students who may be learning English or have a learning or intellectual disability, look at the language level and make sure the directions are as easy to understand as possible. One resource you can use is Cambridge University Press's Language Level Checker. You may also want to include accessible and/or assistive technologies. An accessible technology enables everyone because it is flexible, can benefit everyone, and is universally designed to enable access to digital materials. A lot of the digital voice recognition systems like Amazon's Alexa or Apple's Siri qualify as accessible technologies, as well as being able to adjust lighting on your computer screen. There are also assistive technologies like screen readers or modified keyboards, such as the one seen on the slide, that are generally meant to provide access to students with disabilities specifically. Let's think about the definitions a little. Can assistive technology be useful for people without disabilities? If so, what examples can you think of? Also, can a technology be a technology and not be accessible? Why or why not? I encourage you to share out loud or through the chat. A relatively easy way you can evaluate accessibility in your lessons is the POUR method. There's a lot of guidelines that are around about accessibility. Some are very complex. Even people who are software developers or professional learning designers can struggle with keeping everything straight. The POUR principles are an attempt at a simplification of accessibility guidelines. POUR stands for perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. I've underlined the first letters, which spells out the POUR acronym. Let's start with the first principle, perceivable. Perceivable has to do with the senses such as sight, hearing, and touch. Material should be flexible and give students options. What are some things you can think of that might help students experience computer science through the senses? Please respond either out loud or through the chat. VEX123 robots have a variety of ways they are designed to provide feedback. For instance, when there's a sound, the robot is supposed to also light up. On the slide, there's a picture of a VEX123 driving around some tiles at a Computer Science Education Week event at the University of Florida's College of Education last December. Operable mostly has to do with the user's or learner's experience with the material or product. Questions we think about here are, how does the operation An action carried out to do a task. Impact the user or learner. What learning benefits does the user or learner gain from the product or material? Does the user or learner have choices? Can the timing and pace of the product or material be adjusted for the user or learner? Is there flashing content that could trigger a seizure or other health event? Which of these ideas resonates most with you as a computer science educator? Please respond out loud or through the chat. I'm returning to VEX 123 again for an example because it is something I know a lot of you have experience with. VEX 123 claims to provide choices in terms of how one can code digitally through the buttons on the device, in a tactile manner using the coder and code cards, or through the blocks-based environment, and that its choice board has various activities for students to choose from when demonstrating their learning. Understandable has to do with how easy it is to comprehend the product or material. Some questions we ask here are, can the user or learner understand the lesson, product, or material? Are the directions as simple and clear as they can be? Are the key terms provided? Is the lesson, material, or product intuitive, logical, and predictable? Are the structure and formatting of the lesson or material uniform? Is feedback or the ability to provide feedback present? If you are using this principle for a lesson, is there a rubric provided? Here's something to think about. What are some actions you have taken or can take in the future to help students better understand computer science? Please respond out loud or in the chat. VEX 123 attempts to make the directions for their labs clear. There's also a storybook, the cover is on the slide, accompanying VEX 123 robots that explains what a robot is and how to use it appropriately. Robust has to do with the interaction between a product or material and other technologies or issues. Some ideas are, does the product work with other technologies, including assistive technologies? Sometimes things are theoretically accessible, but they are not in practice. Is the product you are using really accessible to actual disabled users when it is manually tested and when you are interacting with students with disabilities? Copyright law can sometimes be an issue when trying to provide accessibility. When considering materials when students with disabilities are involved, do materials allow use for accessibility purposes? Is there an accessibility statement that provides a way to report issues? Metadata provides information about other data and can be very helpful in diagnosing issues and creating solutions. For a technology, is there a way to collect metadata? Finally, is there a particular plugin required, such as something from the Adobe Suite, Java, or an audio or visual player, for example? Despite its status as a plugin, accessible PDFs can be useful because they allow screen readers to understand documents. So how does POR connect to STEM and computer science in particular? POR can apply to the coding languages you choose as well as how you design your instruction. Notice that there is a link between POR and UDL as discussed. Accessibility is needed in order for UDL to happen. Notice also that there are some of the UDL guidelines, particularly those that fall under the UDL principle of representation. Perception, as you might guess, maps to the perception guideline. Making sure learners are clear on language relates to the language and symbols guideline. Thus, there are parallels between POR and UDL-aligned computer science instruction. Here's a few things I want you to take away from this session. Accessibility should be considered in the design phase. Knit retrospectively, you can use POR principles to design accessible CS lessons, materials, and assessments. Some products or materials may follow many of the principles of POR. It is often indicative that accessibility was considered at the design stage. It is our understanding that all or most of you have VEX 123 robots. What we would like for you to do is to do a POR analysis of your VEX 123 robots, or use information you can find to do the analysis if you don't have one. What works and does not work, or is information you can't find. Feel free to use the prompts on the slides if you choose to do so. We are hoping to collect some data about how teachers might use the POR principles for things they use or might potentially use in the classroom. We hope you will allow us to use your data for this purpose. Feel free to opt out though if you don't wish to participate. Later on, we would be interested in interviewing a few of you about your experiences. Both for this experience and for the interview, we will keep the data secure and anonymous. Are there any questions? I had a class tonight, so I'm sorry I couldn't join you all in person. However, please feel free to email me any questions about the content or the study at bennettandrew@ufl.edu. The next 2 slides show my references. My email is bennettandrew@ufl.edu. My Twitter handle is @abbennettne. I'm also linking to and have a QR code for our Labs About section if you would like to learn more about me. Additionally, there's a link and a QR code for the UDL4CS website, which is the project I primarily work on. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the core principles and how apply to VEX 123. Thank you for listening and participating. Have a good night.